Hello and welcome back to Mental Health Matters. My name is Andrew Ditzel, and this is episode 15. In today's episode, we are going to be following up Thanksgiving a couple days after. So we're going to talk about some concepts of gratitude. And today's episode is going to be called The Chase: What We Are Always Chasing, How We Don't Need to Be Chasing, and How We Can Be Grateful for the Things that we do have. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Mental Health Matters. Like we just had in our intro here, I talked about today's episode. In today's episode, we are going to be getting into the chase, the things that we chase in our lives. And I think it's super common in our lives to chase things, not only things, but people, places, and things all combined. I think, unfortunately, chasing things can come from a place of anxiety, and something that I talked about on this show and opened up with my personal experience of anxiety, having an anxious attachment to certain things or people or places, and how that shows up for us. And I made the episode for today The Chase because I think in my life I tend to chase a lot of things. And I think I confuse sometimes chasing something with working towards or striving towards something. Now, I think when we talk about the word chase, it almost relates to the idea of being desperate or being overly hungry or wanting more than what we can get. And I think when we start to chase things, it becomes dangerous. It can become unhealthy, and it could be in detriment to our mental health. I think I've always been somebody who has strived and really worked towards a certain goal, but sometimes I get a little bit too hungry. Sometimes I chase people, places, and things, and that's where I can find myself getting in trouble in terms of my mental state. So, one topic that I really wanted to get into here was, I think a lot of the things that we chase, a lot of the things that I've chased in my life have been to fill a void. And I think we all have voids in our life that we are trying to fill. And sometimes we fill those voids with certain things, whether it's drugs, alcohol, consumption, eating, all different types of vices that we consume and we chase to fill these voids. And unfortunately, when we temporarily fill those voids, we temporarily get those feelings of relief. When that feeling escapes, we crave or we chase even more for that quote unquote high. And that really is the concept of addiction: doing something, getting a fix off it, and then doing it again, but you need more of it in order to get that same fix. And I think it really does come from a place of chasing. What are we chasing? What are we looking for? What are we searching for? And I think a lot of the times we're searching for something deeper, and we're using other, whether it's negative coping mechanisms or different things that we rely on to fill us up. And I think it's a concept that you really have to understand in order to not be such a victim to it, to not be such a slave to the things that are controlling you or the things that are leading your life. And for such a long time, and I still do with many different things, but I've learned to step away from certain things. I was such a victim of that and caught in this cycle of relying on things like I talked about on the show, with alcohol being such a good escape for me and a way for me to get away from my reality and to chase something and to fill a void that I had inside me. And I still do have inside me. And I think we all do have certain voids to some extent. So, with that said, by stepping back and really taking a pause and thinking about what I'm doing. Why am I doing this? And questioning where I've been, what I'm doing, and why I do those certain things has made me be able to realize that the things I use, the vices, the negative coping mechanisms, the things I've done, they help me temporarily, but they're not a permanent fix or a permanent solution to me feeling comfortable or content or happy with myself. So I think filling those voids is a big part of why many people chase. And I just used the example of alcohol, but it could be with anything. You could be chasing women or men, or you're chasing a high from gambling, or you're chasing a high from drugs, or you're constantly looking for validation. And it's all something to try to fill a void within ourselves. And it's very easy for me to just talk about right now, but to live it is a completely different thing on a day to day basis, knowing that, wow, I do have some voids inside myself. I do have some things that I'm longing for, I'm searching for. And maybe it is purpose. Maybe it's an idea of feeling like you belong or feeling like you're enough. We just had a great guest on last week in Doug Aliano who talks about when he doesn't feel enough and what he does to feel enough in those times of struggle. Doug is not alone with that. And I don't think I'm alone with that either in terms of looking for something, searching for something, chasing something that we're hoping to fill the void in our lives. So I talked about purpose a little bit here, and I think purpose is a big one. And the older I get, the more I realize how much purpose dictates a lot of our lives. Why do we have a job? Well, you might say to make money. Why do we make money? Well, you might say to provide for a family. But all of these things, the job, the money, the family, that provides a purpose. And that's just my mindset in terms of maybe some goals that I have or aspirations that I want for my own life. But how about just finding purpose in smaller things? Like, why do we, and this always comes back to my mind as well, why do we go to the gym? Why do we work out? What's the purpose of it? What are we looking for? What are we searching for? And what's the void that we're trying to fill in our lives? I've talked a lot about on this show coping mechanisms. And I think with coping mechanisms, we can view it as coping mechanisms to help us out, but I think all coping mechanisms are something that really is filling us up, filling our time, making us feel fulfilled, quite literally. And that sense of fulfillment gives us purpose in what we're doing. Many times I feel like I fall short with trying to chase and I get so caught and so wrapped up in the moment and I lose presence. I lose presence of just being where my feet are. I lose presence of being in the moment of what I'm going through at a given time. I've talked about on here as well being a constant motor of wanting more and to keep going and to keep moving and keep doing this just to occupy my time. What am I doing it for? And as I step back and as I look at my life, look at the things I'm doing, I try to look at it from a place of purpose and understanding that my purpose doesn't need to be making $1 million at this second, or my purpose doesn't need to be lifting so much weight that I hurt myself. My purpose doesn't need to be helping out 15 different people at one time just so I can feel some satisfaction. Purpose can be stepping back and just being present in the moment and understanding the idea of purpose, that we have purpose just by being here. We have purpose just by being present. And it leads me back to the idea of gratitude. And I mentioned that I'm going to be talking about gratitude a little bit here on this episode, and something that I think I have fallen short on a lot of times in my life, where I have so much to be grateful for in my life, but I'm not always grateful. I'm not always satisfied with myself. I think about the song I Can't Get No Satisfaction and the concept of there's nothing that is going to fill me up. There is nothing that is going to satisfy me. It doesn't matter what I do, how I act, where I am, how much money I'm making. Nothing can satisfy me. And that's a very difficult way to live. I can't get no satisfaction. But what about the satisfaction just being present? What if the satisfaction is just being in the moment and finding a purpose and joy in just being here on this earth? Because, like Doug and I had this conversation in last episode, we talked about how great is it that we're just here? What a miracle it is that we are just here on this earth, and how beautiful it really is. And it's easy for me to say right now because I feel like I'm in a decent state of mind, but there have been times in my life where I haven't been grateful. And not only have I not been grateful, but I've gotten to a point where I didn't want to be on this earth at all. And that's a tough spot to be because you really lose sight of the bigger picture. That gratitude is so powerful. And it starts in a small scheme. It starts in the smallest things that you do on the daily basis. For example, for myself, I talk about how I pray every morning and every night. That's a sense of gratitude for me. Thank you, Lord, for waking me up. Bless me with a great day today. Just that start right there is a sense of gratitude that helps give me a little purpose and feel like that I don't have to chase the day. I don't have to chase people. I don't have to chase places. I don't have to chase things. That I can just let them come to me. I can be grateful for the situation that I'm in and take the day as it comes. I don't have to be anxious. I don't have to run after. I don't have to chase. I don't have to try to fill these voids because I'm grateful. I have gratitude. And I'm in a place where I feel comfortable with who I am. So I want to tie this together with Thanksgiving. And I think Thanksgiving is a great time of year and one of my favorite times of year where I get to be with my family, not only my immediate family, but extended family. Now, I know everybody has different experiences with family. You might have a very large family, you might have a very small family, you might have no family at all. And with that said, I think just with this time of year that the holiday or the experience of Thanksgiving is just a great time to be grateful for the things that we do have. And I know for myself, I have so much to be grateful for. And I think it's so easy, on the other hand, to catch ourselves not feeling grateful, even when we do have so much in our lives. So, with this holiday coming up, I really am working on trying to be as present as I possibly can be. Present with my family, present with the people around me, and really just present with the moment. The idea that I don't need to chase something. I don't need to look for something more than what I already have. I just need to sit with myself, be patient, be understanding that I have everything I need. And coming from a place of mental health, I think whatever you're going through, whatever it might be, if you have a really active mind, maybe you struggle with ADHD, maybe you are feeling super depressed, maybe you're anxious, maybe you're bipolar and you have mood swings. All these different things can be present in our lives. And I can't say that I've experienced every single one of those. I've experienced a lot of them, but I can say that no matter the state of mind that we do get ourselves in, that we can be grateful for being here. We can be grateful and can have gratitude for the present moment. And I think with Thanksgiving here, it's a good reminder, wherever you stand with how you celebrate or what you practice, that this is a time of year that we can sit and we can be grateful and show gratitude for the good things that we do have. And gratitude is a beautiful gift because I think with gratitude, the more you practice it, the better you get at it, just like anything else. It's a reciprocating habit where the more grateful, and it actually kind of relates to what I talked about with Doug on last episode, where when you reach out to people, the more consistently you reach out to others, it seems like the more consistent they reach back to you. And then you reach to them. And it's like a revolving door that works on itself and creates strength. And in terms of another person, it creates relationship. With gratitude for ourselves, the more we practice that gratitude, the more it feeds us. And it's like a process that works and really is a super powerful concept and can kind of take us away from chasing so much, take us away from trying to fill our voids, take us away from feeling like we have no purpose. Because we could always find purpose in the things that we are doing, even when it's very challenging. So I hope during this period of the year, and I'm going to be posting this actually a couple days after Thanksgiving, but just because it's not the day, it doesn't mean we still can't practice the concept of gratitude. Something that I've definitely struggled with in the past, but strive to work on myself to enhance my mental health. So, as always, I want to tie together the end of the episode with a Bible verse here that I think connects to what we're talking about today. Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 16 to 18. Rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. So I think this is a great verse here that I picked and connects with today's episode. And no matter what you practice, I talk about my practice of Christianity, Catholicism here on the podcast, but just the idea and the concept of prayer, no matter if you are atheist, you believe or you don't believe. In terms of our mental health, the concept of prayer really is very similar to meditation and being able to step back and to make ourselves present in the moment, to find peace. And I think this really leads to the concept of gratitude. We don't need to chase. We don't need to constantly be chasing things. What if we just let things come to us? What if we weren't anxious about so many things in our lives? What if we just let a single day unfold the way it was supposed to unfold, instead of trying to control it, instead of trying to make it something it's not? I think it's a really great and powerful concept that I really wanted to talk about in terms of a whole episode because it's something that means a lot to me. With my struggles with anxiety, chasing or feeling like I need to be attached to something, someone, or some place to feel comfortable with myself, to feel like I'm okay with my identity. I don't. I don't need to be so attached. I can separate myself. I can be grateful for things I do have, and I do not need to chase. I think about another example where I talk about how I play baseball. And one of my coaches once told me when I was younger that, Andrew, you are the best hitter when you let the ball come to you. So, just for a little demonstration, letting the ball come to me and hitting it, as opposed to going out and hitting the ball. Let it come to you. And I think it relates to life. Why don't we just let it come to us? Why don't we just let the circumstances that are going to come our way occur? Because there's so many things, and I think the older I get, the more I realize there's so little that I can actually control in my life. I can do my best, and I do every single day. I give an honest and good effort. But there's so little that I can actually control. And by chasing and trying to fill voids and constantly looking for purpose in every little crack of light that I could find, I almost feel like it's working backwards and it's not serving myself. So I think coming back to this Bible verse here, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, even as difficult as life can get. What a great talent to be able to be grateful and to be thankful for the things that we do have. Like I've shared in the first episode of this podcast, I came home after I was at an inpatient facility for my panic attack, in where I was really struggling, and I had a wave of gratitude that came over me. I said, wow, how grateful I am that I'm still here. and how beautiful a thing and a moment that actually is to be present in. So I hope for this episode you can take away the idea that you don't need to chase, you don't need to constantly be filling voids, and that it's okay to just take life as it comes. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I hope you enjoyed episode 15. This is a shorter episode because it's just myself. I'm looking forward to having some guests on in the future, and I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving or however you celebrate, and I look forward to episodes to come. Don't forget your mental health matters and you are not alone. If you ever need something, reach out, talk to somebody, and make a difference, a positive difference in your own life. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.